What's up, everybody? Mike here with Trail 7. I'm really excited today to release to you more of our Hertz Audison bundles for your Bronco. Today we're going to show you a couple of the different configurations of speakers that we have. We're going to talk to you about what we've put together for you. We're going to show you how easy these are to install into your Bronco. So let's go ahead and get into a couple of different configurations that we have. We have a lot going on the table here, but this is divided into a couple of different categories of speakers. So this speaker bundle here, this is what we're going to install. This is just showing you one of the other options that are available. This is the Hertz Dici line, this is the Hertz Cento line, and this is an Audison line. So anything that applies for this video install will be tagged down in the description, so you can just quickly go to the product page. You can see which speaker bundles apply for it. As far as Bronco configurations of which ones these apply for, this is for the B&O and for the non-B&O. If you have the non-B&O, then you will only have 2 dash speakers, which your bundle will look like this. And if you have the B&O, you'll have 3 dash speakers. If you get that bundle, then it'll look like this. Just something to note that if you're installing this speaker set with one of our amplifier kits and you have the B&O, you most likely won't get a center channel. A lot of the bundles that we have don't offer that center channel in the full system package just because of the configuration of the modules, etc. But for today's video, we're just going to show you how to install the speakers alone. So if you have the B&O, we're going to install that center channel in this video here. We'll show you. If you don't have the B&O, of course, you're not going to see how that applies to your vehicle because you'll just have the 2 dash speakers. And that is one way to differentiate if you have the B&O and non-B&O. We do have customers ask us, because most of our product pages for the Bronco do ask that question, B&O or non-B&O, factory B&O or non-factory B&O. For one, there's an identifier, there's a little silver coin size tab on each corner speaker grill that says B&O. If so, for some reason your Bronco doesn't have those grills, but you still have the B&O, then something else to look for is that center channel in the middle of the dash speaker. You'll have a grill there, and there'll be a speaker underneath there. If you don't have the B&O, you won't have the emblems on the grills, and you won't have a dash speaker in the middle there. So that's the easy way to look at. If you're looking at the product pages, you can look at your Bronco to determine which page is going to work for you. So like I said, these bundles are going to apply for the B&O and non-B&O. Today we're going to install this Dici line into our B&O Bronco behind us here. A configuration to note here is that some of the Hertz speakers and some of the Audison speakers that we have aren't going to fit into the factory 4-inch pod that you have in the rear. So you'll see some of the configurations don't offer a 4-inch rear. To give an example, this Dici line, the 4-inch rear does fit in the pod. The Cento line, the 4-inch speaker does not fit in the factory pod, so this bundle will only include the 6.5-inch upgrade. And we have these pods here. We'll show you how these install as well. So regardless of which fits where, we've done all the homework for you to determine what is going to fit. Our bundles are going to show you what are going to be the best options for that. So to install these speakers into your Bronco, you'll need a couple of very basic tools, which we'll list right here for you. And we're almost ready to go ahead and install these. However, what we're going to do is we're going to show you a desktop installation of how to install the 4-inch speakers into the factory pod. And we're also going to show you how to install the 6.5-inch speakers into this pod here, because there are a couple of different brackets that we're going to provide that come with these speakers. And there's just a way to orient them and a tech tip of how to install them so you don't have things falling on your face when you're trying to install them. When you're doing that, you'll understand what I mean. So I'm going to show you how to desktop prep these here in a second, and then we're going to install the rest of them into the Bronco. So let's go ahead and get that started now. All right, before we get started with the install, I want to show you a couple of the preparations needed for the speaker pods, depending if you do the 4-inch in the factory pod or the 6.5-inch in the aftermarket pod. Like I said, also, some of the speakers don't fit in the factory 4-inch pod, and that's because the tweeter here may stick up a little bit too high. This is the Dici, that's nice and flush. This does fit in the 4-inch. The Centos, the tweeter sticks up a little bit because you can twist the little tweeter here inside the Cento coax speaker, so that gives it a weird angle. It's not going to sit flush to allow the grill to fasten in the pod, so that one's not available. So let's show you first here how to install this into the factory pod. Now, you don't need to remove this to do it. We're just showing you desktop here, quick simplified version of how to install this. You're not going to need to take the factory connector out. You're going to have the factory connector in there. So once you disconnect the factory speaker, you're going to connect our connector that we're going to provide. So we're going to prep the speaker for you. We're going to remove the tabs that aren't necessary and they get in the way of mounting it. So when you receive it, you'll just have the 2 tabs. You'll connect it to the factory connector that's still in your pod. You'll simply just screw it in just like that, right? So you'll use the factory screws that come with it. You'll screw it back in and then just reapply the grill. Very easy. Again, that's covered in the video also. This one here is more what I wanted to show because just a little tech tip of how to install this to save possibly some trouble, some frustration after you install the pod itself. There's a couple of steps needed. So this grill pops out of here. Grill comes out. There's a trim bracket piece that we're going to provide that sets inside of the pod like this. But the best way to get this to where you're fighting it less and not dropping anything in your face, because you're going to install the pod first into the Bronco and then install the speakers. Something also just to throw out there, that if you see a different speaker pod in the near future, hint, hint, the speaker will come prepared, already installed in the enclosure for you. You'll just install the new pod. This one here requires that the pod is installed first and then you install the speaker. So for this type of pod here, simply align the speaker up with the holes, align the bracket up, and what I would recommend doing is doing this in steps to where put one screw in the bracket, put one screw into the speaker, put another screw into this bracket here to hold that in, and then go ahead and get a second one going. They have two screws prepped with the brackets, and then you can line it up into the pod and screw your top screw in, screw your second one in, and then the other two remaining. Which I'll show you here. Now remember, this is already mounted in the Bronco above your head here in the rear roll bar. So once all that's fastened in, there you go. You snap the grill into place and you're done. The installation video will show you how to install the pod, how to connectorize it. You're going to take the factory connector off of this pod and use that into the pod. Again, the video is going to show all of that to you. I just wanted to show you quick how to assemble all of the little brackets that come with it so that way you're not fighting it above your face when you're in the Bronco. So that was just a quick little desktop. Something else I want to point out here also, these don't come with the bundles. However, I would definitely recommend picking up some of these sound skin, sound deadening. These two kits right here can be used for the inside of the pod. This can be used for the lower kick panel area to put behind where the speaker sets. This trim pieces can go around the speaker sets. It'll definitely help the speaker to perform better. So definitely pick some of these up when you're installing your speakers. Now that we have that done, let's go ahead and show you how to install the front dash and the front kick speakers. So let's go ahead and move over to the Bronco. All right, so before we get started with the disassembly, I'm gonna let you know that we're gonna clip over to our other speaker installation video so you can see the disassembly from that video. So once that dash is disassembled and everything is out, I'll show myself jumping back in and I'll do the installation of the speakers here. So we'll be right back. So in order for the removal, this is what we're gonna start with, is the dash, okay? We have two in the dash. If you have the B&O system, you have three in the dash. So you have two in the dash, one in the center, B&O. You have two in the footwell area. So what we're gonna do first, we're gonna start on the driver's side and remove the B&O center. If you don't have B&O, disregard it. Then we're gonna remove the driver's side dash. Then I'm gonna remove the driver's side footwell speaker here. Then I'll remove the passenger side and do the same thing. So let's go ahead and get started with just removing dash speakers on the driver's side dash area. What I'm going to do first is remove this little charging port here. I'm going to use my panel removal tool. I'm going to get underneath here, pop this out. Then there are two T20 screws down inside these little sockets. And then I'm going to take the panel removal tool and wedge around the side of the grill here to pry the grill up and pop that out. Underneath there will be the speaker, which we'll use the 7mm socket to unscrew the speaker. So let's do that. You're going to pop it from one side, and come around to the other side, pop around the other side, and pull right up. As you pull up, you'll see the connector on there. You're going to press this little tab here and pull out just like that. All right, now let's go ahead and get these two T20 screws out of here. Now that the screws are out very easily, and now that the charging port is out, let's go ahead and get the grill off with your panel removal tool. And there you go. Make sure you have these little clips still on here. If you are missing a clip, just check in the slot, and it's probably still sticking in the slot there. Now let's go ahead and get the speaker out, which is your 7mm socket. Another 7mm near side. Here you go, the screws are out. Let's go ahead and just pull the speaker out, and you'll see on the side here this little clip, this little tab here. Just press the tab and pull that right out from the speaker. And there's your factory speaker. Set that aside. Now let's move on to the next one. Again, we're going to use our panel removal tool. We're going to go ahead and remove the speaker grill cover off of the driver's side dash speaker. And we're just going to pry this into the side, little ledge there, and give it a little pry, a little pop right up. Bing, bing. And now you can just grab the rest of it and pull it out. You know, I want to make sure that you have these little clips on here. If they're not on here, just check the little groove that it came out of, and it's probably still stuck in there. You pull it out, put it back on. Same process here to remove this speaker. Just go ahead and get that out. 7mm, 2 bolts, one on each side. And pull it right out. There you go. We're going to go ahead and get the driver side foot panel speaker out. There's this grab handle over here I need to remove, and then there's this trim panel which is going to come out all along here. All of this trim panel is going to come out. There's just a couple of clips that you need to pop out, and that'll take each section off here. In addition to that, there's the dead pedal on the driver's side, the left area here. That'll need to come out as well, and that's where you're going to need the longer reach 10mm socket. That's this area. This is going to have to come out as well. Let's go ahead and get the grab handle off. This is going to be your 4 T30 Torx bits. Now once you have your screws out, you can grab a hold of it and just pull it out with a couple of clips. And make sure you have your tabs in here again. You're just going to have the 2. Let's go ahead and get this dead pedal box here removed. This top piece is a trim piece that can just come right off. So let's use our panel removal tool. You stick it right in the side there. Work yourself along the edge there. And that cover comes right off just like that. Deep inside here, there are 2 10mm bolt heads. And this is where your extension is going to come into play, probably a 6-inch extension or so. That just dropped out there. You can leave the bolts in the holes there, because when you pull this panel out, then you can grab them then. So we're going to remove all of this trim piece, but we need to get this trim piece off of here first. This just pulls right out. Just you can stick your fingers underneath it over here and just pull up, and then just pry along the edge, and that just pops right out. Now with our panel tool, let's go back up the top here and just put your panel tool underneath the side here. Just pop it out. Just pull along down. And that pulls that piece out. Now same with this piece here. Just go ahead and pull it out. Now once you have these couple of tabs off of here, just kind of reach back behind here and give it a push. And you see everything kind of comes off in one shot, along with the speaker grill and that lower panel. Remember, you have the 2 bolts inside there, so tilt those over, get your bolts out, put them in your magnet tray, and the speaker grill is on here as well. All right, let's go ahead and remove the speaker. This is 3 7mm screws that are around the outside of the grill. But first, let's go ahead and get the connector off. Just like that. Now let's go ahead and get our 3 7mm screws out. There's one up top here. One on the back side over here. I just want to catch the screw so it doesn't fall into the carpet. There you go. And one last one right over here on the bottom. Let's go ahead and get that guy out too. Same, just go ahead and catch it, doesn't fall out. Put it in your tray. And there you go. The factory speaker is removed. We're going to go ahead and move over to the passenger side. The removal is the exact same as on the driver's side. As far as the dash speaker, that's the same. Pop the grill off. There's 2 screws for the 7mm, and the speaker comes out. The lower foot area speaker is also the same, just minus the dead pedal panel doesn't need to be removed. There obviously isn't one over there. So the grab handle comes off and the trim comes off just as the trim did over here. So I'm going to move over to that side and I'll show you that in a second. All right, so just as I said, the removal is the same as it is on the driver's side, minus that dead panel trim piece. So we're going to go ahead and get the top speaker, dash speaker out first. So with your trim piece, just go ahead and pop that grill. There's the speaker. We're going to go ahead and remove that with the 7mm socket. Just going to pull the speaker out. And the same thing you did on the other side, there's a little tab. Just going to remove. You're going to press the tab in, pull the connection out, and there you go. So now moving on to the grab handle, just like on the driver's side, there's 4 T30 bolts holding that in. So let's go ahead and get that. And go ahead and pull this out and pop the bottom up. So same thing on the driver's side, we're going to remove this kick plate down here, this trim piece. Just pull right up. And it'll pop right out just like it did on the driver's side. And the same thing, we have the trim piece that's all connected here. So let's go ahead and use the panel removal tool and get that out of there. Now we have the exposed speaker down here, and again, the same as it was on the driver's side. There's 3 7mm screws holding that in. So now we're on the driver's side. Like I said earlier on the table, the speaker is going to come to you fully prepped. So the connector will be attached. If the tabs were needed to be broken off, we would break away whatever tabs are not used. However, with this speaker only having 4 tabs on here, we're just going to leave them. And it's a matter of you finding the spot and just twisting the speaker for it to drop into place. So you don't need to remove these tabs. You can leave all 4 of them on there. Very easy install, just connect it. And then drop it into place. The holes to line up, and then just screw it on. Now if you have the B&O system, then you're going to install the center speaker. The driver's side dash is done. You're going to do the same exact thing that you did on this side over to the passenger side. So let's now move to the driver's side kick speaker. There you go. Right here on the driver's side footwell area. So you have the lining, the sound deadening, the sound skin, sound deadening inside here, that piece that I was talking about earlier on the table. We also have some film or some sound deadening foam pieces that we put on the edging. So if you see any sticky residue, it's because we took that off to show this video. We also have some of that down here on the bottom. There is a hole right here in this bottom, which is where the connector is going to push through. So that way the connector will come out through the hole here. And what we do is we take our sound deadening afterwards and we cover that hole and then we also apply some sound deadening on the outside of the speaker grill. So, reason why I said earlier, you go ahead and grab some of that. It'll definitely help the speaker to perform better when it's inside this basically metal can that you're putting it inside of. So it won't sound like a metal can. So anyway, let's go ahead and get our speaker installed. You're using the 3 factory screws to install it back into the spots. The speaker will come with the bracket that's needed. So this DC speaker has the sticker bracket. The Cento speaker will have a thinner bracket. So depending on which speaker you get will determine which bracket we attach to that. But regardless, it'll come with the bracket and it will come prepped with the connector. So let's go ahead and push this connector through this little hole in the bottom. And this just pulls out from the top. Just like that. And then you can stick the sound deadening to block the hole. And you're going to connect the speaker into here. Using the factory screws. Don't tighten these down too hard. I have them loose right now so I can put that third one in. But at the end, don't tighten them down too hard. This plastic here can be brittle, so you don't want to split this plastic bracket. Find the hole on the back side. There you go. The speaker is installed, and you're going to do the same exact thing that you did on this side over on the passenger side. Let's go ahead and get the trim panels buttoned up. We can call the driver's side done. So let's go ahead and put the trim panel pieces in first. Go ahead and get our last trim panel piece here. And now it's the last is the grab handle. Let's go ahead and get that back in now. Go ahead and just do what you did backwards. Push it in, push it up, screw it in. All right, our front speakers have been installed in the Bronco. Now, remember, as I said on the tabletop, you have a couple of different options for the rear speakers, and on the desktop there, I showed you how to install the rear 4-inch speakers into the factory pods. So it's a very easy installation. You're gonna follow that process that I showed you on the desktop there. Super simple. You're gonna remove the factory grill. You're gonna unscrew the 2 screws from the factory speaker, pull the factory speaker out, disconnect the factory connector. Then with our speaker that comes fully prepped with the tabs broken off, you're only going to have the 2 tabs that you need on there, and the connector is going to be attached. You're going to reconnect that new speaker connector and then screw the speaker back in, and then just attach the factory grill, and the rear 4-inch speakers are done. Super, very easy installation of the 4-inch. The 6.5-inch, as I showed you on the desktop there, do require a little bit of attaching the brackets in the right manner to get it to sit into the pod. And there's a separate video showing you the full pod installation, which I'll put down in the description for you, because there is a full video that shows that pod install. So I hope you enjoyed this installation video. We definitely enjoy bringing you a new line for your Bronco, Hertz and Audison. If you'd like to see anything else for your Bronco that you haven't seen yet, please let us know. We'd love to bring new stuff to you. If you'd like to pick up your Hertz or Audison speaker package, audio bundle for your Bronco, please visit us today at www.trail7.com. Until next time, we'll see you out there.